This is part 14 of Angular 6 tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss how to add or remove validators dynamically at runtime in a reactive form. Let's understand this with an example. Here is what we want to do. We want to include these two contact preference radio buttons, email and phone. If I select email as the contact preference, then this phone input field is optional. If I change my contact preference from email to phone, then this phone input field is required. This means based on the user selection, that is, if the contact preference is phone, then add required validator function on the phone form control. If the contact preference selection is email, then remove the required validator function from the phone form control. So we have to add or remove the required validator function dynamically from this phone form control based on what the user selects for contact preference field. First, let's include the required HTML for this phone input element. It's going to be very similar to the email input element. Here is our email input HTML. Let's make a copy of this and then change the bits that are required. The property name on the form errors object should be phone instead of email. We don't have this phone property on the form errors object. We'll create that in just a bit. The label text here should be phone. Along the same lines, this for attribute should also be phone. Input element ID here, form control name, property on the form errors object here and here. Next, let's look at the changes required in the component class. First, let's include this phone property on the form errors object. Now, in this employee form group, we need to include a form control for the phone input element. The default value is an empty string. Notice on our email form control, we have required validator function, but we are not going to include that on our phone form control. That's because the default contact preference value is email. When the contact preference is email, our phone input element is optional. So it makes sense not to include the required validator function on our phone form control at design time. Next, we need to include this phone is required error message within our validation messages structure. Let's change the key to phone and the message to phone is required. Next, let's include the required HTML for these two contact preference radio buttons. Our contact preference radio buttons are going to be very similar to these proficiency radio buttons. So let's make a copy of these buttons and then change the bits that are required. We want the two contact preference radio buttons after full name input element. So just after full name HTML, let's paste the copied HTML. We don't need this ng class binding, so let's delete that. And the label text is contact preference. The value on our first radio button is email. Form control name is contact preference. And the radio button text is email. We don't need to bind to the blur event, so let's get rid of that. Let's make a copy of this radio button and change it to phone. The text is phone, form control name is still contact preference, and the value is phone. We only need two radio buttons, that is phone and email, so let's get rid of the other advanced radio button. Now, in our component class, we need to include a form control for contact preference. The name for the form control is contact preference, and we want the default value to be email. At this point, let's save our changes and take a quick look at the browser. Notice on the initial page load, the contact preference default value is email. Now when we change this to phone, we want to set a required validator on this phone form control. If the selection changes back to email, we want to remove that required validator. So we want to dynamically add or remove the required validator on this phone form control. Now, whenever the value of this contact preference form control changes, that is from email to phone or from phone to email, we want to know about it. So let's bind to the click event of these two radio buttons. When the radio button is clicked, let's call a method on our component class. I'm going to name it onContactPreferenceChange. And to this method, we are going to pass the value of this radio button, which is email. Now let's do the same thing on the phone radio button. But the value that we pass is going to be phone instead of email. Next, we need to include this onContactPreferenceChange method within our component class. Now we know this method is going to receive the selected radio button value as a parameter. So let's name the parameter selected value, and the data type for this is string, that is phone or email. So if the selected value is phone, then we want to add a required validator on the phone form control. If it is email, then we want to remove that required validator. This can be very easily achieved by using these three functions. These functions are in the AbstractControl class, but we already know both FormGroup and FormControl classes derive from the AbstractControl class. This means the FormControl class also has access to these three functions. First, let's get a reference to our phone FormControl and store it in a constant. Let's call the constant FormControl. And to get the reference of the phone FormControl, we use our root form group, which is employee form. On that we call the get method, and to the get method we pass the name of our phone form control. Now if the selected value is phone, what do we want to do? We want to add the required validator to our phone form control. For that, we're going to use setValidators function, and to this function we pass the required validator, and we know required validator is present in this validators class. On the other hand, if the selected value is not phone, then we want to remove the required validator. For that, we use clearValidators function. Now notice, in addition to setValidators and clearValidators, we also have this third function, updateValueAndValidity. So what's the use of this function? Well, as the name implies, setValidators and clearValidators are going to either set or clear validators from a form control. They do not trigger validation. Now, after you have set or cleared validators on a form control, if you want the validation for that form control to be immediately triggered, then you have to call this updateValueAndValidity function on that form control. So on our phone form control, after setting or clearing validators, let's call updateValueAndValidity. Notice on the initial page load, the default contact preference value is email. At this point, if I touch the phone field and leave it, we don't get the required error. If I change the contact preference to phone, I immediately get the required validation error. If I change it back to email, the validation error disappears. At the moment, we are setting one validator using this setValidators method. But what if we want to set multiple validators? Well, that's when we use the array syntax and then include all of our validators as part of this array. For example, let's say in addition to required validator, we also want to set min length validator. So we include min length also as part of this array. But in our case, we only want the required validator. So let's remove the array syntax. At the moment, to detect and react when contact preference form control value changes, we are binding to the click event of these two radio buttons, that is email and phone. But if you want your code to be more easily unit testable, then having these click event bindings in the HTML is not really preferred. So let's remove these two bindings. Now the question is, from our component class code, how to detect when the contact preference form control value changes from phone to email or vice versa. Well, if you remember, in part 10 of this video series, we discussed value changes observable. If we subscribe to the value changes observable of a form control, and every time the value of the form control changes, an event will be emitted and will be notified, and we can react to those changes. So let's subscribe to the value changes observable of our contact preference form control. Let's do that within our ng on a net lifecycle hook. On our employee form root form group, let's use the get method and get a reference to our contact preference form control and subscribe to its value changes observable. So every time the contact preference form control value changes, this method is called and the changed value is passed as a parameter. Let's call the parameter data, and the type for this is going to be string because the value will change either from phone to email or vice versa. So whenever the value changes, we want to call this on contact preference change method and pass that changed data. Notice even now our application works exactly the same way as before. Here is our onContact preference change method. This method sets or clears the required validator on our phone form control dynamically at runtime. That's it in this video. Thank you for watching and have a great day.